mastica. Ogna kala. Matto. Blurkskunas iskanamanti sugan dias. Uchna knamadi ila knama. Uchkni wali stingumuyenchu no mantinel bukunamada ilanma Princes of Florence. We are kanamanize Eastgunumama traders of Genoa. Well, I can imagine Eastguni Yenchinchuan Twiliwani Ijubandi Kumandi Wolali and so. Junamam in Kumalia wa no Timakinia what Dianra where Kubala. Cuba? Wrong language. Hello and welcome to Matto'S Box Mania episode. Got no idea. Let's have a look at a board game box I've made. So, can we see it on the video? I think so. So, what have I got for you today? I have got some crap boxes that I've made. It's one thing to show good boxes, that's nice. But why not show you the ones that I don't like? So, I have two for you. I have the Princes of Florence and the Traders of Genoa. Now, these again, like the Puerto Rico ones in the last video and the Le Havre, these are the Euro boxes, the Rio Grande games that were the Alia or Alea, however you call it, games, and where I brought the box down to half the height. That's why I make these boxes. You know, I get two games for the space of one. Now, let's have a look at this one first. Now, the insides of these, I'll show you them, but you know, they all get a bit the same after a while. And the main issues with these ones come to do with putting on the, the pictures and stuff on the box. Now, this Princes of Florence, I got this as a German edition in a charity shop. I got a whole load of games, all German edition. And so I didn't particularly want to, even though I wish I did now, I didn't cut up the box to put on that because it was all in German. I wanted it in English. So I managed to somewhere get a copy of some English rules that I copied. I'm probably off Board Game Geek, or it was a friend that gave them to me, photocopied. And it had this picture on the front. And so I went to a printer, which I've talked about before, and he printed this out. And he printed all these side bits out. And they're printed on a thin kind of plastic sheet, and I think they're kind of heat printed. Now the quality, because this was just off a photocopy of the picture, isn't very good. But you can also see various things about it. These wear really quickly, do you know, compared to the original boxes. That's why I prefer the original boxes are great, and the original boxes had more strength and stuff to the boxes, you know. Like that, you know, it just looks so much better. So that's one thing. Now, the next thing about it is I was, you know, still, these are the early days, and I was putting this thing in to get your fingers in because the box lids were so tight. And so I tried to put this thing on and it didn't fit, so I had to cut this off to make this fit. And it looks awful. It looks really horrible, do you know? It's too bastardised, do you know? Like, you know, that end looks kind of not too bad. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, you know, that looks alright. But it's, you know, doesn't look as nice as if it was an original box. But that's not too bad. But it just wears really quickly. Look at that. That's just from where it's being sat on the shelf and being taken on and off the shelf. So that's the thing with the printouts, right? I don't like using the printouts, but that looks terrible. Now, if I didn't have that in there, I could probably have made a much nicer side, you know, because basically I was doing it from this. So this bit is this, because I got whatever 4 sheets of it printed out, 5 sheets, and you know, so I might have been able to get that, you know, it would have said the Princes of Florence for a start, and I might have been able to get a bit of this dude's head or something in it, I don't know. So I could have done something better. So this thing that I put in has ruined a lot of my early box size. So it's not ruined, but it just doesn't make it as good. It's so much nicer. If you watch some of my other videos, especially the making video or the escape video, I started to, you know, I've started to get rid of that. So let's have a look at the Princess of Florence. Now you see the box tight is lid, so the box tight is lid. Jesus, the box lid is tight. So I do need these things to get the blooming lid off. Right, Princess of Florence. Good game. Really good game. I'm terrible at it. I'm awful at this game. Some games you just... I think every game I've played of this I've come last, and I've played quite a lot of them. Oh, it's a tricky bugger. Well, maybe I haven't come last in all of them, but I always seem to be doing really well, and then I just fade away at the end. Don't know. But now you can see with this is all a funny old thing. So this is just a printed, photocopied set of rules. You know, this is a real bastardised copy. And then you can see, because this is a German copy, I've added, let's have a look at the player boards first. I'll stand up for this. You know, this was in my early days. I'm not sure if I do this now because it kind of trashes, but look, on every single one of these, I've put white, you know, sticky labels. You know, like these sticky labels that you get in a big roll. I put them all over this, and I've translated it all from German, and I've written down what it is in English on all of them and all the bits here. It took me ages to do this, and Jesus, man, my handwriting is terrible usually, and trying to print out all this really neatly, God, it's exhausting. So much concentration. But yeah. But I wanted to do that. And then on this one, what I actually did was I actually added all these bits in, so you don't never have to really look at the rules. All the information you've got is actually here. Do you know? It's all summarised, like the setup. That's just the setup here. Just that little bit. And this is about all the stuff when you complete a work of art and all that kind of stuff. Nuts. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is what people call paste-ups. I think that's probably what they are. And then on all the cards, I did the same. That's why they're in sleeves, because they got dirty really quickly. But you know, I've just put stickers on them, and you know, I've tried to make them look vaguely nice. I could have spent so much time. I spelled mathematician wrong. It should be mathematician, shouldn't it? Not mathematician. Yeah, look, you can see how dirty all the things were getting. You know, they were getting filthy when you're playing them. So I was trying to make it nice. I could have spent ages, like endless time, doing really nice calligraphy and all kind of. Look, that's handy. Didn't have to do that one. Doing calligraphy, well, I didn't bother. So I didn't know whether I'd like the game particularly, but. And this was quite early days. Oh God, look at these now. These are horrible. Look at that. How rough is that? How rough is that? Slapped it on. The thing, oh Jesus, that's just, look, that's awful. Rough, and these recruiting cards, they're all dirty. It goes to show how much we have played it though. How filthy it's all got. And on these bonus cards, look at this. I mean, look, this was where I started on the cards, right? This was one of the first ones, and I did that, and I thought, Jesus, that looks all what a mess. Look, what a mess. I thought, oh Jesus, that's terrible. So I started to actually take a bit more time, not that much more time. You know, I'm still whacking these out because I've got hundreds of them to do. So I'm just whacking them out, and then I started to put this in, and you know, you can see, you know, they're starting to get a little bit better. That bonus card's a bit of a mess, but yeah. Anyway, bit of a state. And then this inside stuff is just bog standard Euro layout. Most of the stuff is actually in the box. That's the only removable thing. The money, it's got my little plastic bits in it to get them out. That I've even, you know, written on all of these. Oh, you see it there, you know, library and all of these I had to do. It took me an awful long time. Well, I don't know if it took me that long. I think I spent an evening on it. And it's easy enough. So you can see on this one, I had a bit of trouble getting all the bits in. Bits like this are really hard to get into compartments, odd shaped bits, you know. They are, because you just can't order them in any way. All these bits have got little stoppers on them to stop them floating around, you know, and place for your finger to get them out. And again, it's got the bit underneath, so there's a bit of a gap to get your fingers under. But I since have saw something on, you know, Geek List thing about people making inserts out of foam core, and there was a good thing where they actually just put a little bit in the middle underneath there, so when you press one side, the other side really pops up. I thought that was a great idea. I'm going to start doing it like that now. I don't know if that makes any sense what I said there, but yeah, I'll just go into it a bit more. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it, but in here, in that bit, there's a bit of grey board put in, so when you put these in, there's a little, they're raised up slightly off the bottom of the box, so you can get them out with your fingers. But this goes all the way like this, whereas the thing I saw, it just had a bit sort of in the middle when you went to there, so this end here was down at the bottom of the box height, so you could press on the one end and it would like lever this end up. So, and again, I've got cards like this with stoppers. If I was doing this again now, I'd put them in tuck boxes. I'd put them in tuck boxes and I'd copy this picture and I'd put that picture on the tuck box so you knew what was in it. Again, these have got the things for picking them up like we did in there. And then you can see, like with the boards and that, you know, I always put these stoppers in to stop the boards moving, and there's a gap here so you can get your hand in to be able to pull the boards up, because if that went right to the edge you wouldn't be able to get them out because it's done so tight. But that's actually come in really handy, that little spot to put the playing pieces. You know, sometimes those bits do come in handy. But you can see now, again on this one, I've made this one to the size of the board and the size of the rulebook. And that's what I did on my early boxes, was to make them as good as possible. But the thing is, even though no, these are the same, but a lot of these ones, they're all just slightly different sizes. Yeah, well look, you can see it. It's different on the width, slightly different size. So that's why I've started to make standard size boxes, even if it means it's not as efficiently packed. Now, so that's Princess of Florence. Now, there's something very interesting I've noticed about this, which I'll talk about later. I can't get the lid off. These lids, you just must think I'm just completely stupid. I'll leave that off, that's what I do. Now, the Traders of Genoa. This again is a standard box. But again, the insides there's not much to show really on the insides. I'll show it. But let's talk about the problems with this that I had with cutting up the old box. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this first. So, this was the best side I could get out of the box. You can see there wasn't a thing on the box that said the Traders of Genoa going down the whole length. So I was having to be kind of creative, and this was early days, so I didn't really know what I was doing, and I might approach it differently now. But you can see on the side of the box it had the Traders of Genoa was across the box like this rather than running down the box, so that's where that comes from. Taking that off, that's okay. And then I've taken this picture, so you know it matches up with the Puerto Rico one quite nicely, and they're next to each other. You know, I did the same on the Puerto Rico box. They look quite nice next to each other, apart from the stupid semicircle finger hole, which kind of ruins it. You know, when it's sat up like that, it's okay, it looks alright, but I kind of wish that wasn't there. A bit better. And then I've got lots of black spaces here. I don't know. Kind of looks alright. I'd probably do it different now. But the first thing, right, so that's the side that I'd have on display on my shelf, because that's the best side, because I put them vertically. But I've put that one upside down in relation to this, and I wish I put this the other way round, so that could sit up like that, and that was the right round. It all seems a bit backwards. Now let's have a look at the grimness that is this box, the outside of this box. How grim is that? Can you see it? It's completely grim. And this was because of the way the lettering was on the box. Now, in my how to build a board game box video, you know, I made a long series about how I build boxes, and the first one was an hour-long video of me talking about the preparation you make before you make a box, and a lot of that is working out to some degree how you're going to put these bits on the box. Now, I probably didn't do that with this one. I just made the box and then thought, right, how am I going to cut it up? And so subsequently I came to this problem, because that's all I had was this on the side, and it's this thing again, this stupid thing I put in here. It's just buggered it all up. Do you know? So that was on top of there. That was like that, I think. I don't know how there's two of them. I'm not sure. There was something dodgy going on there, but that just looks awful. So that's why I put that side on display, and I don't ever display that because it just looks terrible. Thankfully, old Mr. Redhead in the hat, he saved the day a bit. I cut him out from somewhere, God knows where, some part of the box, and stuck him on there. So he saves it a little bit, because he's quite a nice looking guy. And he's a bit colourful. Someone's texted me, and yeah, terrible. Likewise, look at that. That's desperation, that is. I was desperate. You know, I tried to make a nice join here, but nah, no chance. That's just absolutely desperate. And you can see how, you know, close I am to the extremities of these letters in order to fit this on the side. You know, looking back at it, I don't know what I would have done, but I might have done things differently, and maybe I might have got a printout for that, because it's, I don't know. I might have found some other way or something to do. I don't know. And this box doesn't look anywhere near as nice as the original box. It looks far worse. You know, like that picture's nothing, is it? You wouldn't even notice what that picture is. He's the main dude, and he's normally connected to that on the main box. Not a good box. That side, right? So you can see that side. Yeah, you know, that's small and that's fat and it looks terrible. On this side, I must have done this side first, because I've actually cut out a strip of thin stuff to put in there. That actually looks a little bit better, but it still looks crap. But for some reason, maybe I could only get one strip to put in. That's why I didn't put it on the other side. So that's the outside of this. But again, you know, haven't clipped the corners here. It looks nicer as a square. Cool. I thought I'd quickly whip this video out and sort of make a short one. It's going to drag on a bit. Now, another thing with this box is, again, right, I've got a warped lid. Warped lids. This is probably my last remaining problem that I have, that I've yet to suss out. And a lot of my boxes, the lids end up warping. It's not that bad. You know, because they're still strong and they do push down. And I haven't worked out quite that there's something in my process that's I need to sort out. You know, and I think it's to do maybe when I glue this top bit on, because I look at this Princess of Florence one and I don't think that one. Oh no, that one is still bent a bit. There's some part of the process which makes them warp. Some worse than others. This is particularly bad one. A lot of them they're only warped ever so slightly, and you wouldn't even notice, like this one, or you know, 90% of them you wouldn't even notice. And you wouldn't even notice on this one, but it is warped a bit. You know, like proper board game boxes all get dished and warped, don't they, in time? So what's the difference? But I'm going to try and do some experiments to work out where that warping is occurring and see what I can, you know, it's to do with when you put the glue onto the grey board and it takes on moisture, and when you're putting it on one side and it affects how it all bends and stuff like that. And it's the one thing in the grey board thing that, you know, is difficult and isn't great. But if I suss it out, then I'll put a video up on I've got a geek list now, which, well, it's not up yet, I'm making it, of how to build the board game boxes. And then once I put that up, and I might start trying to do some experiments. And anyway, that's got nothing to do with these boxes. It's got nothing to do with these boxes. What am I going on? So let's have a look inside. Now, this is an interesting thing to think about. So again, the size of the box is usually determined by the board or the rule book, or maybe there's something else, but usually it's the board or the rule book. Now this one is determined by the rule book, because look, the board's only small and there's all this empty space, but the rule book is like this. Alright, and then I can take this off and things have all gone a bit flitty flatty. We'll talk about this in a bit. But if I was doing this now, I'd have to think about it, and I'd have to think about what my standard size box is. But I would consider, because that board is so much smaller than the box, I would consider making a much smaller box to the size of the board and folding the rules in half. Now that to me is a blasphemous thing to do. But to get that into a much smaller box, I think would probably be worth it. And it's not a game that I'm particularly mad for. It's all right, but it's not my favourite game by any means. In fact, I think I rated it very lowly on the Geek. I think I was a bit harsh on it because I've only played it a few times, and but you know, it didn't light my fire, and. So yeah, I would probably consider folding those rules, or even maybe you could maybe go to a printer and get them to reprint it out at this side. Makes a lot of the wording very small. I don't know. This is the box that's given me the most trouble out of all my boxes. This one. Don't know. And there's many ways to do it. I mean, I suppose another way I could have done was I could put 2 games in one box, couldn't I? And it's not a bad idea actually. I might do that. 2 games in one box, especially if they're similar games like this. You know, just to box the Princess of France and the Traders of Genoa in one box, and then that wouldn't be such an issue. That's a pretty good idea. I'm learning. I'm inspired. I mean, I was going to make a King of Tokyo box, and I've talked about it before, because I know, you know, the King of Tokyo box is a small box anyway, but it's about that big, and I know I can get that down into like nothing. But I couldn't get the King of Tokyo wording on the side of the box if it was that small. So I thought, well, I won't do that. But recently I got King of New York cheap from, you know, on a, you know, just a site that sells hat. Someone sold a few games cheap. So I got King of New York for like €10 in perfect nick. And I thought, well, if I put King of New York and King of Tokyo in the same box, then the box will be wide enough to put the King of Tokyo and the King of New York things on the side. So sometimes when you're making boxes, you might have to wait until an opportunity presents itself to be able to make the box, you know. Or I wouldn't make a box if there was a good chance that I might buy an expansion for it. I'd wait until there's no chance of getting expansion. Anyway, excuse me. Anyway, aside from that, so there's not much to say here. Some cards, same thing. They've got stops to have them moving with a thing underneath to pick them up. I put them in tuck boxes now. Paper money, stoppers. It's a bit, you know, and that does come out. These are just in here random, just bunged in. These are, right, this is an interesting one. Oh no, yeah. So these are in my classic way that I'm not sure is a particularly good way to do it, where I line them up like this. It's because I'm trying to save, you know, I don't know. I don't really understand why I've done this. I do understand, but it's a bit awkward. But you know, you can pick them all up because it's got a plastic thing in there. But the plastic thing that goes like this to help pull them out has been painted, so it's a bit, you know, it doesn't run smoothly. If you're putting these plastic runners things to take them out, paint the box first and then put them in so you get that good slide. But it's very hard to get these back in because, again, I'm just such an idiot, really. Because here I've tried to do this for maximum space efficiency, but look how much spare space I've got under here. It's just like what was going through my head with this box. I think maybe I might have been. This was the time when I was a bit box nuts and I was making games. I was trying to bang them out, and maybe this was like towards the end, and I was running out of steam, and I'm just trying to get them out as quick as possible. You know, I can see all kinds of mistakes and things I've made, and I've probably made this one too quickly. But yeah, but this thing, the only reason of doing that, one is I was thinking of it's safe spacing, but it's easy to get them out. It's nice to get them out, but it's, you know, it's difficult to put them back in, and I should have given them more space, because it's very easy for one of these to, if you don't put them in totally correctly, one of them sticks up, and then it sticks up, and then the board sticks up, and then the lid doesn't go on. It's what a turkey tit. I'm looking at my Puerto Rico box, and that's really dished as well and warped. And then we've got these cubes. You know, this is ridiculous. This, right? You know, I mean, who ever thought of this? You know, these two cubes, they're just almost identical in colour. You can see they're different when you look that closely. But we put it back, you know, but on the down there, you just can't see the difference. What is it, rice and something else? Can't remember what it is, the commodity. So I had to draw letters on them to tell the difference between them, because you just can't tell what's what. That's just, you know, why not just, you know, I suppose rice, it's white. I don't know. Why don't they just make it green or something? Anyway, what does that matter? That is the Traders of Genoa box. My worst box. But it's probably the game I like the least out of all the ones I've boxed, so it reflects. So, in my how to build board game box video, the first one that goes on for an hour and turns everybody off because I'm waffling on about how to fix these things on, that is why you need to spend that time, so you don't get that. And you look at that, every time I look at that, I die inside a little. And that, look at, you know, that, the difference in the widths. Standard size boxes, make standard size boxes. Anyway. Ugribandi Kalamanda Ula Kudi Stubati, even in your uncle Stau Yistumaliala. I'll see you later. I feel like sending that. I bet that one took half an hour and I only thought it was going to take 10 minutes. But that was bad box making. See you later.